So the good news is I start listening to these recordings and I don't hear my own voice, which means I know automatically all we're going to do is upload the last 1 hour, 37 minutes with an introduction, and this is the intro. The intro is, I'm going to start writing about how never to buy a house, which is all about mental and physical and sexual abuse. And how to throw a small family wedding, which is the stuff that can help recovery, because the skill sets in throwing a small family wedding are the things that combat anticipation and dread, decision-making, step-by-step planning, and this thing I figured out, which is basically making sure your hands have something to do. All right, and then there's a real introduction, which will be next, okay? That's the music, that's the sound, which I'll figure out. So I'll play that. And then in conclusion, I'll say, all right, you may be confused about this, but that's okay because trauma is confusing. I share my life live, and I do so practicing consent, which I'm redefining as the daily treatment that we give to each other. So did you consent to be treated that way by that person, yes or no, and why? You should be able to know why. Justify your answers. All right? All right. Oh, and feel free to use examples from your real life to do so. Otherwise, you're going through life in a way that's not conducive to this project because you won't be able to explain anything that you do. Well, that's something that I can't be around based on the violence that I've been exposed to. All right? That's emotional violence, psychological, academic discrimination. That's violence because it's taken away someone's future. As well, oh my goodness, as well as the little snarky, rude comments people make. And I'm anti-censorship for sure. That's not something I'm into. But why use your energy, smarts, and thinking to put people down when we could be building
I don't
people.
care, but the mind fuckery is the stuff that's
all right, I don't have a way to do this automatically because I'm getting out of advocacy.
So let me use my voice and
but
get
I
the
will
motherfucker
say,
out of my
if
life.
you are able
That's
to
my choice, but you're the one that has to move
follow
the
any of
you
the
did.
sites
He took the
that
keys and literally
I
ran
write
down the
in,
hallway.
which write in
He
could
ran
be
down
visuals,
the hallway,
could be
was
video,
smiling as he closed
could be
the door.
writing,
like,
so text,
just get out of the
composition,
house. And then there was a couple okay
could be
days,
speech.
but then Neptune. He was the
I don't
trigger.
know. It's just an outlet. So writing to me is just an outlet, an expression of self that bubbles up and cannot be contained anymore because I don't have the capacity to keep this inside of me
Get out of his way
anymore. I would like other things inside of me, which is
and that's
the
what
joy
we
of
did
the Holy
day
Spirit.
after day after day.
And that I can just sum up as
how many days on
faith.
replay? How many
all right, everyone.
worth?
This
Add
is
'em up.
Smarty MC.
I'm okay. I'm not going to participate.
Smarter Than Trauma
you
is
get
my
it?
open
you're
mic.
going to do the work.
But
that's what
I'm just
going to
relive it one more time.
I'm at the level
to go through
of frustrate. Emerging those skills, which I said.
all the
reading,
steps
writing,
necessary
moving my head.
to put away someone's violence,
picking up a
threatening
bag,
me with
exposure,
using photos and film. It's super duper not pleasant. I'll tell you exactly what they do and
who would
say,
know this stuff?
and I'll tell you how to write that shit away. All right, we're going to transform so that their words are not overpowered by your own. You don't have your own words yet. It's okay. I'll give you the words. If you don't want the words, then you need to find them on your own. And that means you have to go out into the digital universe because there's a bunch of words out there being spewed every second of the day. And that's how I'm going to sum up my season 1 of podcasting, because you can see just how traumatic it is to get closer and closer to the deadline.
There's a story behind
I waited till the day of the
12th,
12th, which is not good. But I can also definitely say that the adrenaline in my body, I do not have to use to move through my house.
But not here. And that's decision. That's choice. You get it? My voice is what happened when I learned about W.E.B. Du Bois, and it made sense that, yes, I was supposed to go to college in Chicago. My godfather, absolutely. absolutely said the right thing to me. So thank you. How can I ever say thank you to you until I die? Shit, until you die. And that's the generational shift. You should feel it. And they're talking about inheritance and why in year 6 everyone started talking. Shut the fuck up. They wouldn't shut up about why I avoided these types of groups of people. The way they talk about each other and why on date 1, the words were, wait, date 2. That's why I realized it's true. I was meant to be exposed to something which I never have seen before, but have seen it and don't need to ever see it again because I get it. What was he looking for? It's on the internet. It's pretty disturbing. It's racial in nature. And it's a flip. That's how he was trying to transform it. So thank you again for step 3, you idiot. I say idiot lovingly, just meaning you're goddamn stupid for absolutely giving up on everything. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to keep the story of the cats. No, I took over your cat because I wasn't allergic to cats anymore. I said that was my biggest issue. I grew up with animals. My biggest issues are allergies to all these animals and the flora of Michigan. So there are reasons why staying away from Michigan is quite good for me. Quite frankly, it's misery when you're sneezing and it's painful. So when this Neptune cat came into my apartment, I started sneezing again. Sneezing hurt my body. I didn't have an air filtration thing. So there's too much cat and too much of a small space. So yeah, how do you deal with that? I'm doing all the laundry. That's the thing. I'm doing all the laundry. That's why doing the laundry for homeless people helps to remove that.
So this is the conclusion that I just said. I put away numbers by admitting it.
You're helping a lot of my
Talking
neighbors
about
get
it
their
and
places
saying
cleaned up.
this is what I need to
Quarters,
make sure the
getting their
numbers are
places
okay
cleaned up
because
is a
people
priority.
keep fucking with me.
Yeah,
This is how you know
all of this. That's why I'm
because
done
some things
speaking
they're
about
totally
it.
like clued in
So
on.
we're gonna layer all
and
of
other
the
things
other
they're like
podcasts
what?
from the
I don't
first
get it.
date
You don't get what?
to the last date. So that's the
Then you're not
implication. That's how
paying
much time
attention.
I've
So
lost.
that
That's
goes
like
back
a
to the original
blackout time.
question of why are you
Of not
following
being able
this?
to think beyond.
I'm trying to share
A
something
couple minutes
really
in some
difficult
cases.
to
It's
deal
not
with,
healthy. It's not safe.
but
Definitely
something
not going to be interfacing with anyone. Because
super
what if I
duper
say something
easy
like
once I
my home address for some reason?
can
I forget it because it's traumatizing. I have to be
understand
very
that
careful.
I don't have to
So that's
share
why I just
everything, but
never
the things
say
I
those
will
things.
share
There's just very strict
are
rules. But if
100%
self-sabotage,
necessary
because this
now
person was self-sabotaging me and the cat, really.
because
So double dose of that. Okay, rude, but I absorbed it. So I want to self-sabotage now, which I've never done before.
yeah, it's hard to talk.
That's why you got to name it.
before-
That's why I said it's called self-sabotage, and
okay,
you did it.
and I threw away 3.
Sorry, you try to sabotage.
Okay,
Take
so
that
the
self.
discrimination
Auto-sabotage,
case is
whatever.
becoming
That's
like
your mental health.
annoying because
So
it's like, well,
no,
you guys,
it's so
I'm
much
calling you
nicer,
both out,
easier
so
in
obviously
life
you
when
guys
can
have
lie,
issues with
and when
it.
you can just make up a
My issues
narrative
with
and
stealing
use stereotypes
time,
of
I
women,
just
and
said
then
my evidence is why I was knocking on the door and she wasn't there. I
stereotypes
was
of Asian
emailing her
women,
and she
and
wasn't
then petite
emailing me
women.
back.
Excuse me, the
When
word is
from the very
what?
beginning, she's been
So I will
very
say that
good
word in the future
about.
somehow.
Oh, so let's
We'll
talk
start with
about
the
it.
first
And
step.
when I come across that
Finally.
evidence thing again, that's where I'll put the visual.
Composition heaven.
So
How
the
do you get
evidence
let
is
in?
you
Well,
have somebody managing 17
create a language,
properties.
a
You told
universal
us in a
language of
meeting it was
consent,
3,
so there's
and
no
that's why I
GD
said, guys, you
confusion.
guys have
So
a
that way
low
there can be
standard for
question and
lying.
answer time before
I have a
anyone makes
higher
that
standard
decision.
for lying.
Don't touch
So
me. It's pretty
that's one
clear.
thing.
And yet, rape is all around me.
But
That's
he's
what I
not
remember
here.
before
So he's
assaults.
not
That's
here
why
after
being with
3.
one
So that's stealing
person
time. She's
is
not
helpful.
here.
And if that
She wasn't
person
here
is a
until
man,
10.
I'm sorry, but no
Maybe
one's
she
gonna
was here
mess
right
with me.
before 10 because I
That
stopped
was a
knocking
priority.
at
I've always
9:45.
been better in relationships.
Should we look at the
I don't do
cameras? Because I'll be
casual
told the
well.
cameras don't
That's
work.
too scary.
So I'm not
Plus,
interested in cameras. Every
I
time I've
don't
asked about the
know.
cameras, I get a different excuse.
Mm,
It's ridiculous.
I'm
So,
not sure, but maybe
okay,
that's
it
why
doesn't
I'm not
matter what the
supposed to go
excuse is, and it
around
takes
crazy
days
now.
to get back to
I don't
me.
know.
Okay, but I have a
Casually.
question. If I get
You know
back
what?
at all,
You don't have to ever have. Yeah, you can just. Sorry, but I'm putting words together now that are throughout my house before my eyesight goes. Like, that's literally the
first thing you
issue
need to
that I'm
instruct
having.
someone is the speed that you're willing to go.
I mean, I don't know what else to say about
the
it.
speed changes, and go fast and go slow. Go fast, slow, fast, slow. I will give you the
All right, another picture.
that was the longest I asked somebody to wait after being intimate with them, because I don't know, just got busy and things were happening in a bad way and didn't know if they'd be willing, and they were, so that was genuine. That did help. So do you think it was a week? Do you think it was 3 weeks, 3 months, or more than 3 months? Easy. 3 weeks, 3 months, more than 3 months. All right? All right. Those are the categories. And then it's very easy to describe. Because it's out. These are just words, but when I string them together in a certain way, I do want you to think about sex stuff, whatever your personal experience is. This is, if you want to share, go for it, but this is actually better, because I'm just going to talk about why consent is the most important thing. And when you break consent, these are the behaviors of people that don't seem to be authentic in what they're actually saying, because I'm learning from others what's authentic and what's not, and these are the characteristics of people that seem to be using charity as a scheme. So that's not appropriate. I saw someone who was trying to take advantage of others financially, and also was giving me pretty big insight in behavior as I'm like coming out of this fog. That's why I call it conscious coma. Well, as long as I'm being very clear, I could talk at that point. Said, hey, if you're fucking with these people who have no money and are desperate, that's a sin. Like, make sure you're not doing that. So I'm going to be very clear with you. I don't understand. Why can't you show me what I'm asking for if this is a real thing? Just show it to me. Come on. As I'm hearing other people explain their experience and that they have dealt with this for months, not getting paid, not understanding, not believing what is said. So I'm now don't see any of this within the first couple weeks, I'd say, and then all of a sudden a breakdown. It's like, wow. Okay, so we'll go there. So Chicago charity social scenes. Chicago Police Department.
It's not even that loud, but it's making my body.
I do want to get a
twitchy.
billboard, and I wanted to say, stay away. Smarter than trauma.
Now it's quiet.
And I don't think the police can protect, because I'm supposed to be put on court advocacy. Been asking since
taking their pants off and about to take a poop in my classroom. So I got to witness psychological issues firsthand. And I can do this because I knew this was an injury that I needed to recover from. And I finally got there. So I'm like so happy. All right, you have to acknowledge the experience of the person. You have to ask questions and then assess what you don't understand yourself. And you have to be willing to put your voice out there for others, because that's what advocacy is. I told Northwestern Memorial Hospital that what you need is a good advocacy program, because the behavior of the doctors and the administrators and some of the nurses are really negative and really stigmatizing, and they created suicide when they denied everything was brought on by the fact that my students with special needs rights were violated, ignored, and basically trampled on. So hey, that's going to affect somebody for sure. Also, the CTU and their lack of participation or lack of care is part of this, and the policies that have to change. So I want to change the law. That means things have to be different for the palala protected classes. And if you have a problem with my voice, if you have a problem with the way that I move and groove, then that's your issue. Just like I told the doctors, do you have a problem with the way I talk? Is this why you can't get beyond psychiatric disorder? Because I'm still waiting for you to come up with what that is. Because every time you ask me a question and I answer, you change the answer that I'm giving you. And that is dangerous. Okay, that causes caused suicide, because your obsession with my race and adoption had nothing to do with this, had nothing to do with the violence that was going on in a public school and the violence that was going on in my home. But your focus on that and difference definitely indicated and showed me a way of life that I had been observing for over 6 years, being with this guy I met in 2009 who had a cat, because he came to me within the first year when he was doing some behaviors that were pretty shady, and told me about his childhood trauma, and I took him to therapy, and that's where the story starts, in sessions. All right? Thank you. Now, this person is extremely important. Don't forget his name. Back then, I knew him as Dave.
Maybe I'll add bonus now.
I'm gonna probably
Get the podcast.
Now we're going to put these together.
Supplement.
The last podcast of
More
the final season, and then I can add that in between time.
Maybe I'll make them
All right.
They're not meant to.
This is in
be anything
conclusion
but the
of
container
Smarty
for
I'll
MC.
double whatever the time
Smarter
is.
Than Trauma,
Don't have a
I'm
connection
Smarty
with
MC.
sound, you still have to
Brought
care
to you
about it.
by
You
Northwestern
don't know
Memorial
the person
Hospital,
down the road
Stigma,
if they're gonna have trauma.
Chicago Public Schools,
All right, so
Insane
then
Breed,
So if you know what to say and
Chicago
do,
Police
you never
Department,
together.
have
Lazy,
to fucking
oh
do
my
what
Lord.
this person did because of money,
Wow.
because of validation from
Rude,
someone who
too.
fucking
That's
what
bullies you
vestibular vertigo
in front of
sounds
the
like.
whole
Liars,
fucking
and
community.
you
But also
I'm sorry, whatever
made
I
me never
fucking
wanna
say is
be
gonna
a
come out of my
police officer,
goddamn
so
mouth because
thanks
that's
for
how
that.
it works.
Isolate them.
And that's why we
you just
can't
add
end
the list
trauma.
goes on, but
So I want to
of these
elevate the
isolate
survivor
them
victim
and
him.
put them
If you
in
want to
either
speak to me
category.
about stuff,
Thank you.
Visual,
I don't know if I can do it anymore. I swear to God, I think I actually
smell,
burned out.
taste,
I'm burned out, so I'll do what
and
they
tactile.
do. Shallow, vapid, superficial.
So just imagine having to go online
Understand.
and
Yeah, I'm gonna report. Oh, doing
having
great,
to
doing
write
great.
that
Oh, yeah.
book. I know one
Everything from the body.
Yeah, thanks.
Come on, so I can't do any sort of
It's really hard to just
push
talk
up.
to
Highest
each other.
bidder.
Using up the weight.
Well, I
What are
got
you
the
talking
package
about?
when I get
much
the
worse.
stores.
I'm
What
stuck
I'm
here.
gonna share
It's worse. It's not
is
hard to
my
compare.
linear
Gee, what's the difference?
PTSD season 2,
Bad.
dating,
That's
meeting,
it.
and relating, because I'm not willing
That's
to
why
give
I
up
actually
something
recording
if somebody
to
suggests
go
to
out
last fall.
with.
Thank God for the
After
word
when I
that
said,
Too
hey,
busy.
day one,
It's busy. My
has
busy
been, hello and welcome.
Go, we're going to see you. Hello. I don't need a neurologist. I don't want any therapy. I know how
Follow
to
the
do this.
instructions,
I just
and
need
this will be
accurate
a reminder. Please put your name
Where are you?
on the
Where were
green
you?
tag if you are
This is the audio trigger I start with.
person who
Because
has
we're in
survived
dating
something
meeting
horrific and
as
might
well
have
as
symptoms,
lessons,
might not have
sessions,
symptoms.
confessions,
But you've lived with it, and
one
it
more.
affects you now and again.
I said it in my
But you're
head.
able to flick it
I
away
can't forget it
now and again as well.
And
Continue to find
Red
the very
A,
first sentence
blue
will
name
be
tag.
Yeah,
If you
future
are a
tense.
loved one
All
of a
right, still
survivor
looking.
of
Just
someone
thank
who's gone through
yourself.
something memorable, and a gray name tag if you are either, neither,
and
or
that's a
don't
nod to
wanna
Cormac
say.
McCarthy.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever
Thank
you
you.
do not put your name
That's
on
it.
there.
I don't know what else
Put
to
whatever
say.
else
I
you want,
can't
a
tell you
word,
any
a
other way.
doodle,
It's super
excuse me,
simple,
draw
the
something.
easiest symbols because we
Or
see them
smiley
everywhere.
face.
So then you think of it like me.
I mean,
But you
that's
gotta
really
do
not
the
a name, I'll
work.
just say smiley face.
Now the internet can
But
help you.
the
So
point
good
is-
luck. I don't have to
is
teach you
that I don't
to
want
talk
your
about
name, so I
anything
don't feel obligated to
anymore
tell
that I really like
because we're going to break
people
down mental
just
abuse as we go through it live.
lie.
Because
So
it's
I have
harder
to
than physical
identify
abuse. I got to
that's
be
the
honest.
trauma.
Between
So
the
let's
two,
remove it so I can
just like chronic
This is why
pain without
you
go back to my
PTSD
life.
or
Continue to
PTSD
Live or not
with
live.
stigma
Make
from
that
healthcare that forgets about your chronic pain.
inside
Thank
you.
you.
I'd
Your
rather
words are
have it
bubbling up
without,
as I knew you were gonna
obviously,
say
words
so
are
the
gonna
same
pop
thing.
out me
That's what it's
head.
been
Let's
doing
do that
for a very
okay
long
and
time.
anticipation
So we're going to give it back
That's
to
why
them.
they're
And that's
spewing.
what we're focused
I hope
on.
you're
Scribe
reviewing.
what's going on
Right.
so you can hear,
Personify
see,
all day
and
long.
maybe even feel.
And then
That's
we're
why
gonna
feels
I
like
say
I just
disclaimer.
said my
Here
period.
it
Maybe
is.
you
I
can
manage
empathize
words
with
now.
that. Don't worry about it.
Live.
So the difference that happened just a few days ago, June 11th, is that I have no fear, and I'm going to talk about rape. Rape being the violation that we do to each other. It's a feeling as well as an act. It starts with low standard for lying. I identified my triggers pretty early on. The triggers were lying to my face and lying on paper. Origins, the principal, lying to me about my students not getting their eyes bugged out of of their head, as well as the face of an alderman in my house, shocked that I'm even asking the question about safety in a public school, prioritizing the kids with special needs, the ones that are most at risk and vulnerable. It was bizarre. Her face got all red. I heard someone behind me say, "Oh, there she is." Shout out and gratitude to those that have helped me talk without them forcing me to relive the origin of trauma. I don't think I could have gotten so thank you. My voice is so much better. I've been dropping voice memos, voice check-ins, writing samples all over the internet for more than 6 years, and now I'm going to explain how I got here in advocacy, transitioning from 12 years teaching special ed in Chicago public schools. Because I requested one after being assaulted and losing mobility. So this alderman handled. I had gone to this alderman when the principal wasn't taking care of LRE, which is the federal legal right of a student with special needs, for 9 months, which led to the psychological decline and, quite frankly, horror of watching a child regress to a point where
To the story because I can
feel free to
describe
screenshot
every
the
trigger.
entire letter if you want, but I'm going to be showing this over and over and over again because I'm modeling prolonged exposure therapy to dampen PTSD. Now, the issue with PTSD is I absolutely was hearing the children screaming, crying, self-harming, and looking at the administrators' faces, as well as the faces of these people at a bachelorette party who couldn't get over the fact that somebody wanted a
So, the words were smoking pot all day. So I experienced it ahead of it, right? Been baking since a very long time now, just to prove that I can do it. So this is how you flip the switch, turn it on. The most precious bits of any life. Please don't call it quits. Cause one day you could experience something so don't say it. Yes, delirious. The letter D, the ending ed, ed, is how the sound all began. Cause of past tense, future trend, tense, and present tense. And having to really think. I ran, which means, hold on, step by step, me, running, did not run, will not be running, am not running. It's a regular past tense verb. It's in the past. He just did this, or he did it a long time ago. This is an incomplete sentence. Okay, so let's just put this down straight. This is a complete sentence, but I can't give it more information, get more information from it until there's some more details. All right? Let's look at those little details now. We're going to zoom in and slow down. We're going sloth speed, meaning
All right,
it's
so I'm
over
in my home
now.
and the door is knocking.
Truly, it is over now.
No way. It's too scary. My heartbeat is up. Whew, you'll have to come back. I'm sorry. No, my heartbeat is like beating. Oh my God. Because I just sent a board of directors note about the door. So the door being open, and I'm just about to get ready for baking. Hang on, they're knocking on the door. I can't even walk near the door. All right, so this is your intro to flow, meaning I'm going to try to do some poetry outdoors because that's safest. And then the anticipation of going back home should be greatest because I'm really trying to flip that emotional issue with the past and the present, etc., all of that. So anyway, I've got to go. I've got to write another stupid motherfucking flow because people don't know how to behave, but maybe they were just never taught. So one time only. I'll teach you all the things that you absolutely need to know.
When you learn something for the first time, and it's a great feeling. It finally happened to me, and now I'm able to force my rewind, and that way I never change my mind. Are you ready to move like a butterfly, sting like a bee? Seriously, when I'm doing rhythmic talking, it's like boxing to me.
So the things that I've learned, now I'm going to reverse their hurts live because it works. And I want to get there faster. And I'm only going to do this one time. So the in-between time, when I realize I can't make a decision on this. So what I think is going to end trauma won't. That's the trick. So I keep posting. This is going to end trauma because it makes sense. It doesn't make sense because it hasn't connected to that one person that can say, hey, I get it. Don't worry about it. Hey, you can keep talking or not, but I hear you. You're suffering and you need someone to vent to. But I can't be there for you. No more boo-hoo. And thank you for those that absolutely showed me, told me, how dare you, you can't scold me. No, you have no authority over me. Only 2 people in the world have authority over me. One of them passed away recently, and that's the end of that. Why the good generational cycles that we want in life are the ones that
Let's see if it gets picked up
kids
now.
who are independent.
How many weeks has
from
it been?
anyone. Everything.
The whole point was pride and cleaning.
That's
Pride
why
and
education
cleaning my
should
ass.
be for everyone, not just some. We're talking about emotional education to avoid the people, let's call them dum-dums, that will absolutely hurt someone. Sorry, I reject that thinking and behavior. But repeatedly, events kept happening. Why? When you hear all of them smushed together one time, that's the noise, the level that I heard and hear. Rarely, but still happens. Why I stay inside, not depressed. I told these doctors, there's no way I'm depressed. I know what depression is. I've seen it. It's horrible. Well, and this is how you end it. You do something and you move and you change the furniture too. So that's what I did. That's why I've got new chunky furniture. I followed a rule and it worked. Fine, if I am depressed, this should get me out of my depression. No, it was the decision to stay here and join the board and buy big furniture. I don't have much stuff. A move would be easy, but I chose not to.
If I
Why?
need to drop off the
That's
notes
the
from
right
the pelvic
question.
exam
Nobody
physical
knows how to
therapist I've been
ask it.
seeing since last year,
Everyone's going to ask
that's
it.
great
That's
because
why I said
you
these are
need,
your
she writes
confessions.
explicitly what
You're
had
like usurpers. You're
happened
stealing
as
my
I say it,
ideas without
she's
understanding the
touching me.
process
So
to it.
there's a
Get
lot of,
real and
you're right.
Get the hell away from
The
me.
PTSD can be
All right.
considered
Thanks,
mental, but
everyone. This is
the
Smarter Than
cognitive, I
Trauma,
want cognitive
and I'm
above
Smarter
mental.
MC,
And I
created by
want,
my students with
primary
disabilities
has a
and special
point because
needs,
that's what I
who
mean.
will
All these
always
diagnoses.
be
Oh,
the
we can't figure it out.
reason
Well,
why
let
I
me
wanna
explain it
change
to
the
you.
law.
Unfortunately, I lost language.
Oh my God.
So,
Policies
it's
across the
interesting.
board.
I
If
don't
you
mean
take
to
advantage of
harp
these
on
kids,
when you
lose
reacted,
everything.
but that
Go
does
to
tell me
fucking
we're having a
jail.
conversation
Get butt raped. I don't
and you're
motherfucking
human
care.
versus people
That's
that
like
literally
how I
said,
feel.
oh,
Okay? Thank
we're
you.
just
But
not
that's
going
like
to
the worst
address
thing to
this.
ever
We're
do
going
someone,
to,
is that.
not give a crap
Thank
about
you.
this, even though I'm being very clear what happened. I'm verifying and saying I feel better speaking about it. So you guys are creating my methodology or activism or whatever this is for mental health. I admit suicide was in my life. I'm not living like that. That is the fear, and why whenever this happens, I feel like I'm struggling, like literally drowning. Because if somebody doesn't understand it, they have stigma against me. They don't know, they don't mean it, but that memory stays in. So that's the strongest memory, was your reaction. So for whatever it's worth, that means my theory works. Kindness will absolutely trump trauma in terms of the cellular endocrine system, because the rapes were violent and mental. He was in my house for 2 years. I spent a lot of time in the beginning telling you, and you said you're not going to include a lot of that, but maybe that's the point. To feel safe, it has to be included somewhere in my medical records, because that's part of it. They read the medical records. They've already decided, because I'm a rape victim, that whatever is said about my sexual orientation, sexual needs, desire, puts me down a notch or two. It's a judgment call, and I'm Asian. That's what I'm saying. Race became an issue. I already know what he's going to say. He's going to say I'm like a sex fiend. I have an endocrine system, and he was raping me all the entire time. How do I even start to process this? In my house, raping me daily. So it's not like the best. The point is, if I'm in front of a judge, I'm not gonna make it. I'm gonna have a heart attack having to stand next to him. So I want my records to be exact as possible. I am making the decision to either file an order of protection, which gives him 100% knowledge that I am doing this and I can't leave my house. I haven't been able to move out of my house because of physical stuff up and down, plus wanting to reclaim the space stupidly. But also the building has access issues. So once a month somebody gets in, the doors don't close, who knows? And it's brought up at every meeting. So it's like, wow, I live in a building that people just walk in. And his name is on the building list, which they've not removed. And they told me non-violence is nonsense. So I'm already like, wow, every time I come home, come home, he could pop up. So to do an order of protection alerts him, and I don't know if I'm going to get it. It's been so long since I have been able to talk about it, and I did try to report it 3 times. So the denial, ignoring it, is very high, and that's when I need to really speak about it publicly, writing. The best thing is to write. That's it. And then the rest is just right in there. We talked about consent, that I do share this from the beginning. I share everything in a comfortable space to get it out of me. Done. This is why. Get it out. And I don't know why. This adrenaline is constant. But I know why, because I'm talking about it with you. Because it doesn't happen with every single person situation. So I will use this opportunity to remove more of it, because it is a safety feature in me and my house. And if I have to take these documents and I can't read them before I submit them, who knows what's in them, because it's already happened before. What's in them? Well, they side with the predator, and they have no way of identifying domestic violence when it's pretty clear my behavior in your office was domestic violence. Completely related. People don't understand it. So you have to be around other victims to understand. Oh, do we hear? This is actually normal for shootings them. Aimed at kids. What's anormal for some is not to talk about it. Do we do? Or to be able to regulate. Breaking your and that's why you see this dependency on drugs and all this stuff. And that's why I did not want in my life. That's the thing I did have a heads up about. All right, thank you. The pockets of people who are literally drowning in debt. What don't you get? One vacation a year. So I stopped taking them when I knew it was clear, until there's equality for everyone. I'll be broadcasting live saying education is for everyone, not just some. So first I had to get my face back, then my voice had to get back on track. Then my voice had to get on track, 'cause I'm a mandated recorder, which means I'm a warder. I'm an archivist for the things that you say. So if you don't match, you're going to give yourself away. Your stupidity is your dishonesty. I was always going to write the scene for someone to do for me. I thought I had someone true who could do the tasks that I would be asking this person to do. But I misjudged. But there's also variance here connected to special education, because like I said, I made it crystal clear. His word, he doesn't want his whole life to be about disability. Excuse me? No. Life should always be about discussions on how to make an equal and level playing field to disability. So I just heard my voice go pop. If you didn't hear it, then stop lying to me. Just stop. Please have the conversation with me. That is where the stigma fits me. hits me again and again till the very GD end. You don't know my themes, that's on you, and I mean that I gave up teaching to tell the story once I recovered appropriately. Whether these people are alive, dead, or retired. Who knows, maybe they got fired or they just don't work for that company anymore. So they feel okay sharing, but I ain't holding my breath. Hell no. That's why I'm moving forward in galore. I'll talk about how I never used to sing. The person who I showered with would know what I mean. So when I started doing that, after an experience, I thought, wow, it is changing because I'm aware. I'm aware of how I was already dampening triggers through their need of photography annually for the Christmas photo. And the letter that says what we're doing and we don't get to see it and we receive it. And it's like, oh, wow, nice, really nice. But I was anticipating those photos, and that's how you dampen it after how many years? So that's one thing. If you know what a person doesn't consent to and you do that, then that's going to purposely re-trigger. So when I say purposely re-trigger, it's because you have knowledge of something. So the board of directors similarly are, what do you call it? Similar. It's a really hard word to say. Can't visualize it for some reason. It is because I had to share I'm a victim of violence. That's why, listen, guys, safety. If you don't respond to safety issues, I'm going to have a big problem with this. So I'm getting two issues here. People in the building, let's revisit it, and access to the building. So the people in the building, you hire them from the other companies that you share with, the other properties, 17 properties. Is that all the properties you manage? So we don't have a full-time manager here, property manager here, correct? And that's the one piece. I'll talk until my symptoms go up. Now they're up. So I'll stop because that's 3. You only have to count to 3, 1, 2, 3, to be a behavioralist. All right? Anyone can do this. And it can help give you data for the situation around you to make good choices. So you can be your own advocate. Then teach people you care about and who have the willpower and the mayhem. Yes, the mayhem inside necessary to drive their desire to end their crap. Not their crap, but the crap that they're holding on to for others. So the crap that has been accumulated over many seasons of crap. People. So put them in the rubbish bin and let's begin. Removing their tailspins. When I speak rhythmically, just realize it's a reason for my body to breathe. So when I was doing stand up, because I saw a sign on the bus saying stand up for disability, meaning don't take their seat, that's when I realized, all right, I moved from concrete on the street to the buses, mostly seamlessly after about 5 years, 5.5, 6 years. But to be honest, it's not my preferred method of transportation. Cycling is. And I do have my preferred bike. All right, gotta get outside, it's time to rewrite their crimes, to change policy and say it all started with Neptune and me. God put us together in the same time period and the city, literally. So now I get to take care of him forever. I'm not supposed to die before my cat. But if that happens, I better be prepared for that. So I have someone who can handle it. I'm going to put it in my will. She'll get Neptune because she needs to see how he's different and how he's lovely as can be. He's older now and he's calmer and he doesn't have that PTSD. So I removed it over about 6 years. Well, 3 years he was significantly better, I'd say, enough to say he can make a full recovery now. The evidence suggests 6 years total. The cats are harmonized for reals. Alright, I can leave my house and I'll be fine. This is what I am talking about. I am trying to get through my house. So welcome to the show. That's the intro. I flow. for as long as I need to go. Because there's polar bears all around me growing up. Seriously, match the charity to what you care about, the earth, and never give up. I'm writing that composition right now. That only means 3 more to go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That is a waltz to me when I play piano. That's breathing. Michael Jordan, 23. Sequencing numbers and flow. I've got all the tricks of my individualized self. Wait, no. IEP, an individualized empathy plan for others. And for me, I'll share my strategies to get through dealing with people and their bullshit. First of all, limit the amount of interaction time with people throughout the day. That's going to help. Finally, make rules very clear and what you will and will not accept. Don't be pushy. And I will never get into someone's car until I tell that story. And verify you're not just a human gosh darn being, but you act like a human being as well. I'm too petite. I finally see myself. I don't look at myself physically because my body's a vessel. That's the best thing after surviving something horrendous. I'm really good about don't sexualize me. And there is a person out there who did not sexualize me while sexualizing me in the appropriate space. So that is hard to find. Now it's about melding the two. And I'm not sure if that is a possible thing to do. That's why it exists, so why not try? Because I don't want to. It's not meant to be. The universe has closed the door because I don't know how to reopen without the right key. And I don't have the right keys yet. That's a reference to piano again, and music. It's a different language. A universal language. That's what I'm doing for consent. All right, my podcast will be called, this is also documenting the creative process, which is the whole curriculum. So then when I'm done with 9, I'm like, wait, what about 10? Oh, crap, I already did it. Wake up and do it all over again, because that was the original poetry that bubbled up when I'm like, oh man, I don't have numbers, and a 1 and a 1 and a 0. Nope, a 1 and a 0 is a ball and a bat. Also a rock and a stick. Original murder weapons back in the days, because it's been happening. Whoa! Everything falls. So that's why we say trauma falls. Because the nerve pain, I didn't notice I was leaning on something and just made it bounce off the table. Didn't feel it. But I'm also noticing with my eyeballs, looking around, like, whoa, my body is, like, I'm leaning on 4 things for that touch sensation in order to finish this. Because technically, I should have finished it a while ago.
So as I go
but also,
through
what's going to make me stop speaking? The stigma
quantity
of those
sound
healthcare
files,
providers
just
being
upload
jerks.
and do
Exactly.
this
And that's why when I create
until
jerk
I do
chicken,
get into a rhythm where I can
that's
then
Jamaica and
write
healthcare
about
and one
the
more
topics,
thing.
which is
Because everything
one,
is a trio.
how to put this
so
stuff
the very
away
last 3
in a
compositions
step-by-step
go
guide,
together.
which I'm doing.
And I'll show
Which
you how to remove
step
a
1 is to
trigger
get it out.
quicker, 'cause
Step
if you
2
can
is
count by
to
3s,
reflect
you can count by
briefly as soon as
5s?
possible to say,
That's
oh
why
yeah,
you
I
might
can make
be
a
on
choice
4th or
to
5th step.
abandon this
You might
or
need
to
to
accept it,
extend
or to maybe
your
think about
steps
it
so
later.
you can
Yeah,
actually do that. But it's okay.
And then,
Yeah, it's better to be out than in.
finally,
Just like
step
letting
3
it out.
is transform.
It's better, because I heard y'all. Hold on. Take care. Wow. Good type of loud too. Alright, thanks everyone. Again, take reports of survivor victims.
It's a sensory world, so
really be a
just
great
gonna
way
report
effectively
until I am hoping
Thank you.
I have to relive the other thing, but I'm pretty sure with consent, as I write the universal language that I've been thinking of, well, maybe it'll make it better. Alright, thanks. Have a great night. Oh, there's Chicago police. Unfortunately, I don't particularly trust them anymore. That's a bummer. You gotta have trust
See, I don't have
in your
good
police
hearing.
department.
Thank you.
Standards and protocol.
Sound off.
Policies that explain.
Hey, I thought they just painted this. I thought they painted it gray.
Yeah, the words
Looks
don't
like they
match
just
up.
painted it black again. No.
When you close that classroom door, who knows what happens? Yeah, I've seen. That's why I suggest in education, just record it. Parents can watch the lesson. They can help their child do it instead of doing it for them. Instead of doing
Alright,
it
so I did
for
it.
them.
I found a way to
And there's
basically
also
fatigue myself purposely
accountability.
if I need to restart because I
Record
can't
the
think of
lessons
the last
live
thing I
and
was
you'll
thinking
see.
about. I don't know the next step
Everyone
to
should
get the stuff
become a
done that I
teacher.
need to
You
get
can
done.
Get your education by
I know I have to start looking for some paperwork in my house, but
observing and
not
absorbing.
taking it so
Then
seriously again.
minimally,
So I guess I'm just going to give
you
up.
would get to be able
Alright, so that's my introduction
to never
to
forget the
what I'm going to try to
importance
talk
it is
about, which is
to read.
I found something
That's
from
the
the past.
only thing escaping.
Nothing. Paper will last.
that was 45
Why
seconds.
take a digital
Oh my
photo
God.
of it? Post it.
Alright, it's really hard to do
Relive
stand
it.
up. It's a formula. 4 minutes, every 20 seconds,
through
try
this.
to do a funny.
Live.
And
Just get it out.
at least
Any
I got
words
my
will
voice
work.
back.
Just don't
So
scream
to
or
celebrate
shout.
it,
Don't swear.
you go
No
back to 4 minute
curses.
stand up to
Reverses.
pick
There
up where I left
hurts.
off, which was doing it live,
Worst.
but in a space that
We're
ended
just
up being
gonna play
not
with
so
words
safe.
and sounds
Again,
and be
these
silly.
places that end up being not
That's
so
all I
safe
promise to be.
spaces.
So go ahead
Super ass
and
lame.
try it with me.
Alright.
Come on.
Like I keep
I'll show you what my
saying, the
family
shame
did for
game
me.
is
and why
what
I
they're
can do
trying
it
to
for you.
proclaim. So I will
Let it go
explain everything
and
that
tell
you
me
need to know.
who's
in order
hurting
to
you.
Stop
I found
their
out it's the
ridiculous
teachers, the principal, the
PTSD
parents, the neighborhood, the community, the older people,
and
specifically Michelle
away
Smith.
We go.
Chicago Police Department, Chicago Park
Alright,
District,
I hope that's the last time
Northwestern
I have
Memorial
to go
Hospital,
into
Chicago Public Schools,
that
Chicago
rhyme to remind
Teachers
myself.
Union.
Oh
and
yeah,
many
that's
more.
right. That's
This
just
is a Chicago
rewriting.
story and why
So now
I'm
I get into
packing up,
writing,
ready to
real
go.
writing,
My
and I get into
backups, as
editing.
soon as they're gone,
And
I
then
got lots of backups.
Do it again.
As soon as I can get
and
through my
again
house,
until you're
I'm
ready
out
to
of here.
publish.
Could take me a
The
year, could
writing
take
process,
me 2, could
because I
take me
taught that
3.
in after school.
But it will take me
I
some
have the
time.
binders. And
Because
why
it's
it's so
different now.
difficult to do this.
Last time, I didn't feel safe. I was able to move
That's my kitty,
immediately.
Neptune, and Ivy.
So simple back
Alright,
then.
gotta go.
So what's
219.
changed? And what can we redo the bestest
Alright, at
parts
least my
again and
timing
again?
is on.
You have a problem with my
Thank you.
voice? I asked the doctors. Do you have a problem with my body?
So
I
if
asked
the
the
goal is to
doctors.
talk, I have
They
to
interrupted me with no.
I don't get it.
But the reality is someone answers you like that, that's a hell yes. Stigma.
Question of why you
Northwestern
following
Memorial
me
Hospital with
I'm
these
trying to
3
share
doctors.
something
Goldman,
really difficult
Fang,
to deal with.
FENG,
But something,
Curran,
I'm like,
neurologist.
dude, super duper easy. Once
Thank you.
I can
One to send you to a pill
why not
mill.
working well,
And
understand
the whole
that I don't have to
community,
share everything.
literally
I
Northwestern
will
Memorial
share
Hospital, to ignore it.
our
You are not
100%
doing the right thing.
now.
So these departments need to know to tell the other departments, stop hurting people. This is what they do. And their diagnosis to you.
that.
All right,
It's
this
hard
is
to
Smarter
talk
Than Trauma. I'm
before.
Smarty MC. My open mic
And I threw
was
away
awesome.
3.
If you could make it, I hope you did. We're gonna share, or I'm gonna share the story of how I put away non-consent photos. Because at my open mic, I said, do not put your real name on the name tag. That's the point. I won't feel obligated to tell you mine. So you only know me as my MC name? Because I feel safer, safest, with not sharing my name. And that's weird, but that's what violence does to you. It's a piece of you.
About.
So we're going to try to regain the pieces once we identify how many shards and bits and pieces in order to refortify, because we're all different. Thank God we are. Who's not at peace with this? Seriously.
They're totally like clued in on.
Who freaked out on us because it's a risk to come talk to me?
That's what.
Like I said, do you have a problem with my voice? Really?
So that goes back to the reason
All
I'm
right. Well, you
here.
don't get my
Questions
words.
on
I want
why
my
you're
words back.
following
All
me,
of
so
them.
that's
All the advice that I gave
Cher's
to
not
you,
here.
you,
Really
you,
difficult
and
to
you.
deal with. Maybe she was
I
here
get
right
it back.
before
But
time,
something
Because you
knocking
sound
at
good,
45.
but
super
you didn't
duper easy.
follow
Cameras, I'll be
through.
told
That's why I became a
cameras don't
teacher.
work.
I'm good at
I'm not
it.
interested in
How
cameras.
about that?
Every time I
That's
talk
my
about the
passion.
cameras, I
Just
don't
give
have
it
to share
away.
everything, the things
But I
are
don't have this
ridiculous.
passion no more.
So
I can't write the
it doesn't
play
matter what
You do have
until I'm
to
ahead of it.
days
Truly,
to get back
resignation
to
from
me.
education.
Okay, but I have
All
to
the
do
golden
something.
rules
If I
is not
get
what
back
they
at all and negatively
are
affecting
ruling
So
by.
the choice, faster you make the choice, the better everyone is.
And like I
This
said,
will effectively
words
end our
are
friendship
and
if
throughout
you
my house
don't
before my
talk
eyesight
to me.
goes.
You don't
Okay,
text me
that's
one
one
out of
motherfucking
emergency.
sentence and type it
But I
out.
do
What I
not
hear. That's the
care
note
to
taking.
take it away.
I don't know what
That's
else
really
to
good
say.
at it.
I'm at a
That's
level
the point.
that
I knew
believes
exactly what to
everything
write
everyone
down.
throws
I'm
at me.
listening. And
That's why it's
verbal,
rare
nonverbal
to
cues.
find that
Paying
person
attention.
honesty.
Really?
Really? I guess I'm just used to it around the people I know. Well,
All right,
they're not
composition
aware of
6.
it.
She's
They're
been
crap.
very
Because
good
that's what I realized when I got to that number.
How do I
Oh,
know?
that's
to
what I'm
tell
doing.
them?
It's a miscue, a
Well, that's
purposeful
what
miscue.
called being a
Because
friend
my brain
is.
corrects it.
To the very
It's
end.
different. But I still see what I'm doing.
I said, guys,
And that's
you
the
guys have a
important
low
part.
standard for lying.
Thank you.
I have a higher
Thank you.
So I am still trying to figure
is
this out.
Neptune.
So first get it
Please,
out and
thank
think,
you.
what is
Long
this?
you.
What is
Right,
happening?
Because
So
we weren't going
is
to lose
this
your
the
name, so we were always going to
artistic
write.
side, meaning
She's
the
not cat.
performance art
Neptune
side,
and
meaning
Ivy.
literally
Because we
just
put
the
Neptune
slave
first,
narrative,
'cause
get
Ivy's
it out,
fucking fine.
with the call and
She's got no
response,
issues
the
whatsoever.
dialectic, and that's your
So
faith.
these are the little 1
Because,
minute,
like I
2
said,
minute,
it's
20
a
second
reflection,
cameras,
holding
they
up
did
the
different
mirror
created
to
a
what you're
little
throwing at
longer,
me.
a
I'm giving it
life
back
that
to
could
you.
get
Hello.
Okay, it doesn't
You
matter
can't
what the
see it. You
experience
can't
is.
hear it.
Carnival,
Well, I
don't
filmed
you
it.
hear it? The
Okay,
Now I'm giving it back
graviton
to
that I've been
you. So
spinning
previous
on.
podcasts have again been therapy PTSD. I thought I was ahead of it, but I guess not.
This cementoline.
So whatever that means.
Words together
The
now
chords
throughout my
with
house.
Ending there, post-traumatic stress disorder,
I've got 2 different
whatever you want to call it. I'm done and I've chosen it. So I'm going to write about it, which started the podcast, and then I'm going
Are we ready to talk about
short
that thing
story
there?
about it with the typing.
they're
Because
totally
the
like
typing,
clued
and
in
they
on.
did
Not
everything
you're
by the
ridiculous.
book.
Everything
All
I
of a sudden,
created
everything's
was
done
in
by
order to
the
help
dialogue.
explain something.
I have a
It was
very
just a
immature
snapshot
Okay.
of the moment,
All
and
right,
then
and I
hoping,
absolutely
cross
will erupt
fingers,
against
with
those
my
most
faith
corrupt.
intact, that
I'll
one day
do
I could
it.
explain it. So there's a
No
couple things
doubt.
going
I
on
get
here.
it.
The
God
first
damn
bit,
Tina
you can tell my
is.
voice is stronger. So this was done recently, and it's done in rhyme or flowetry, just to get it out. At one point, you'll hear other noises cover up what I was saying or singing or humming or flowing. And that's because I don't want you to hear it. I want the noise to cover up what I'm saying just so that I can get it out, but then no one else knows. That's the first step. Get it out. But get it out in a place that's going to create a little more stress to the body. Because it's all about that ignorant primordial body that is stuck in trauma. It's like a child. It's like a scared animal caught in the corner. So the next thing is that the voice. The next thing is my own voice began to become triggering once I got it out and started hearing it and realizing, what's going on here? Forcing the words out of me. And yeah, it sounds angry, it sounds unbalanced, but it really is someone just trying to regain their voice after losing it completely. I lost my voice literally. I could not speak. And I think that happened so I couldn't ask questions of somebody who couldn't take it, the questions being asked, and was abusing me and the cat and creating a false narrative and buying a house behind my back. He talked constantly about how much money he was saving. Get out of my house. You don't belong here because you never wanted to marry me. Now that you admitted it, finally, because your therapist is going to ask the correct question. I don't like the narrative that you're trying to string here, that we have a bad marriage because of the stress of the injury, because you certainly don't act stressed about the injury. You're not even participating in my recovery. You're creating harm because you won't answer questions and your dishonesty is constant. Where were you last night? Why aren't you going to work? The things that you mutter under your breath, do you know that I can hear you? Anyway, so that's what's going on.
There's no trauma with Ivy.
Everyone's a real nice.
She can still be the loud mouth,
right.
the nicknames
Everyone
he gave
yells.
her. No
Board
trauma,
of
but
directors,
with
but the
Neptune,
residents
lots of
don't show
trauma.
up. It's really
So,
awkward. I have to
Season
admit.
2, Smarter Than Trauma
So-
presents
Okay, just gonna share it because that's the methodology. It's not
dating,
great,
mating,
but wait
and
until
relating.
I write because I'm trying to
Hosted
minimize
by
what I
me,
share verbally,
Smarty MC.
and yet
Sorry, not going to share my name yet. But I will share how I removed
I'm
non-consent
blacking
photo with the
out
help
from
of Jack.
the biological
I was at my
stress.
open mic.
That's why I say.
This is why technology
Do you have a
is
problem
so
with my
wild.
voice? Do you have a problem with my body?
Even
But
I'm
now
sorry,
he
MC.
goes by Dave. He
Please choose a
gave
name tag
permission
and do
for
not
you
put
to
your name on it. I
remain
put it
submissive, to pass
So
bullying,
doodle,
denying
word,
your voice.
whatever
But you did have a
button
choice
you
to
want
get out of my
on
house.
that
Didn't you say nobody lets me speak?
But also,
Isn't that
I
what
wanna
you
feel
told me
obligated to give you mine
repeatedly? And instead
protecting
you
myself,
spent
'cause I've
all
been
of your
conditioned.
energy
Call
abusing
it
me.
mental
Figuring out
abuse.
how
My
to
cat
rewrite this
led me the way
narrative
out of
now. While your
darkness,
therapist
and for that,
gave
he
you
gets
the
to
way out.
survive,
And wow,
as
it
he
all
was
goes
meant to
back
be,
to
as God
my
intended.
sexual assault
That's
almost 3 decades ago. So I did
job,
find a
Becky.
trauma specialist, and I brought this person to them, who also told them no. He's the one that I told after the first session that you
the reason
lied.
why
After the
I
first
think
session, it was clear. Shit,
met
this
this
is how
person.
people get comfortable
There was
with
always a plan.
suicide.
Hallelujah.
I'm gonna kill myself. You're so depressed to be
Next
with me. Well, then get out of my
episode,
house.
we'll
Why
go
you're
on.
not going
Thank
to
you for
rewrite
listening.
my life. I got to this point after you asked me
wait.
to be
Like,
your wife.
subscribe,
Best
and
friend is
share.
what's on replay again and again, since no friends is the reason we had a small family wedding. The same words from a child who is hurting in school, screaming no friends as they self-harm and cry. Day after day, he's the one that believed the lies, even though after the first session I made him realize. He also approved your aggressiveness. Seriously, what did he miss? I guess he just didn't understand. And that's why, again, we went to that childhood trauma specialist, because you told me your trauma started in kindergarten when your family didn't believe you. They took the teacher's side, and ever since then, oh my goodness, someone can't control themselves. Okay, so this childhood trauma specialist that I took you to, who's awesome, absolutely told me I can bring you there to relive what you did. Who also told you can't growl, you can't snarl, pleading his case like he's on trial. And this is where we stop. Oh, because I'm done. Done. Since I'll be writing sessions and everything that happened verbatim, because I have a system I've been documenting for more than 6 years. Just waiting for chronic pain and chronic vertigo to no longer go pop. That's how I distracted body from vestibular pain. I would say pop, because I'd prepare for that. I would prepare to say the word pop. P-O-P, easy to say. That is on YouTube somewhere in the universe. And now that I've said it, I'm certain that I will find it, because everything seems to pop up. That sound is super duper not a trigger anymore. Thank you. You're supposed to feel uncomfortable and disoriented. Yes, I'm oriental looking, but you're the one that's disjointed. Because you tried to use race play and past tragedy, attempting to brainwash and make me your submissive LG. Thanks. But one day you will see how I transformed such tragedy into my life story, all thanks to you. So what's interesting is the only pronoun that I had was you, because these voices were yelling at me, talking down to me, trying to brainwash me, and essentially use head trauma to fuck with me over and over and over again, like I'm stupid or something, like my reality is false because I'm asking for a classroom, because I'm telling you to get out of my house and you won't leave, because I'm telling you to stop, enough. And I'm telling doctors I'm not taking any medication because I'm so underweight. I have no body fat, I have no muscle. I had the body of a child. I couldn't find the one photo that I buried in Instagram of me being really underweight, showing my body and just how big my head is on my body. And it's terrible. I mean, I look anorexic. So I'm Italian, and being underweight is definitely a cause for concern. And my family and I didn't understand why doctors weren't taking that seriously. And I thought it was a race thing. That's what first made me aware to pay attention, and what triggered the race play that was going on in my home that was buried. Just like this photo that I bury because I posted in a moment of, oh my God. And then I bury it with other photos and videos and writing so that you can't find it. It's going to be hard to find because it's so so horrific what had happened. I don't want to be put back in that place, treated worthless, treated like an object, treated like a plaything, and treated like someone who was disposable because of a decision of another person who didn't want to marry me, who had to marry me, and then had to figure out a way out of this marriage. All right, I did find a photo of me being pretty underweight. I don't like it because you can see my chest bones, but I got thinner. That's not the end of it because I lost all my fat, all my muscle. So I'm 105 right now, and my previous weight was 110 to 115. No, my race isn't a problem for me. What's your next question? And they literally never stopped persisting with this narrative they've already created. It was the assaults to my students and the events that happened that showed me abuse of power. And then the recognition that it's all around us and we need to address it because it's our mental health crisis in our society. How we treat people of difference worse and how we blame them for the actions that we're doing. All right, this last picture is also showing a selfie, which I don't usually do. Thank you.
Yeah, seriously, because if you have a problem with it, that's your problem. Get over it. I feel the stigma. I'm giving it back to you. Do you not hear it? I'm putting it on pretty thick. Just laying it out. That's it. The body feels it. So I let the body do what it wants. And it doesn't have to fucking die. Alright, this is about suicide. And it's gonna rise up every so often. But I told someone, and it should not do so again. Because that's how you kill it. You let it know. I have no fear in telling necessary parties. So I have no go live my life. But why? Why not share it? Because everything's pretty scary. Whew, and I don't know if I'm biologically ready, but the only way to truly know... See, now my tears. Really, I'm crying? Ridiculous. No, it's human. Stress. So shaking, tears, a lightheadedness, flushing, feeling of having to pee, increased nerve sensation, I'll say, definitely in legs, toes, buttocks, back, shoulders, fingertips, and pelvic region, which PT therapy did wonders, but I had to adapt greatly by working from home. But I made it work. All right, Smarty MC. So the first story that I will be writing is a run of show. Forgot that one. Thanks for listening. The 9 genres will be on rotation forever, constantly, because I don't know how to write this, but I will write it, I promise. Or I'll die trying, that's for sure, because I can survive on anything. And predatory behavior starts with the parent-child bullying. That's what we witnessed. My siblings and I witnessed a child being bullied, a child living in poverty. So guess what happened? This child was adopted, and this child was taken out of poverty and put in a position of status, access, wealth, opportunities galore. Just had to apply self and earn whatever was created. So conversations with my father is just going to be a short story. Not much to say. But that's the point. It's condensed. Fastest too. Because I love short stories. Ooh, there's so many good ones. That's a better B sound, isn't it? And that's why I say one and done. That's the only way to get to know me. Go out there and be someone. So I wasn't meant to be a teacher. What was I meant to do? Solve the educational problem of nature versus nurture, and why we do need abortion rights. Because a child being brought into the world who's not wanted grow up to hurt cats and absolutely become predatory. I fucking heard you, man. No. I want the policies to change. No statute of limitation. I'm sorry if I got mixed messages from every single department in a police department. Do you want victims to be represented or not? I don't feel safe. fuck off. I'm going to make sure he stays away from me because you can't do nothing but alert him to the fact that I reported it and he told me he would kill me if I tell. So I told. And we'd be done with this because I can show my motherfucking cat, Neptune, who gosh darn knows his name. He's so chill these days. He goes on the balcony, he goes on in the hallway on his own unprompted. He doesn't hide his piss, swipe, throw up. He does throw up occasionally. But I'm gone more, which is my issue. So I'm going to be better at timing it. So that's the motivation to just do it. All right, if you hear harshness in my voice, it's because I'm having actually stabbing pain in my neck and shoulders. So I use my voice to validate the pain. And that's year 2 in this relationship that I'm going to talk about. As I said, why do you let this person validate you? Here's the example, the principal. If I talk about the principal, the story I told, which took like 30 seconds, it's going to relive all of that other stuff with the principal. That's how fast it works. So do I really want to go there? Not really. But I will, one upon the not time, recorded, live. And I'm done with it. So yeah, I mean, I'm the only one that knows if I have a shitty day with my students, right? So you reflect and you realize, I'm not going to do that again to myself or them. It's too stressful. So I'll tell you about the 2 crappy days I had and make sure never do that again. Done. Oh my Lord, my 2nd year teaching. Got hungover at work. Just don't ever do it. It was terrible. There's more to the story. And the other time, well, why I use Post-it notes on my binder to never forget to check in on a student because they really will never forget if you forget. You should just never forget. So don't say anything that you cannot follow through with. With some kids, not every kid, but some kids, oh my Lord. But that is life too, correct? So did I scar them? I don't know, but I made a change. So maybe that didn't scar them because I said, hey, thanks for showing me. I need to make notes. So I'm going to use Post-it notes every time. And I changed up my policy. You can leave me notes on my desk all the time as a reminder. So pop in and remind me because I'm busy, but
You have to get the
that's
link.
when
you make money. That's it. And link
forget
is
the thing you're
Legend
trying
of
to
Zelda.
get.
So back to
So-
video games.
It's like
Hey,
for
help me
everyone.
find your
It's supposed to be
children's
in
passion.
like that.
It's
In
money,
my
which is
world,
what
in my
this
day
is
every
what
day,
you should
like
never
never
do.
do.
So I'm going to say that violence video games do play a role.
All right?
Don't move into
So
someone's
thanks for listening.
home.
This is
Antisocial
Smart
sabotage. Because I
There
also
is
talked to
okay,
a
so
student
we'll
that
start
did
with
not have
friends.
special
Sounds
needs or
good.
developmental
You have to
disorder,
take a sound
but
walk.
didn't know how to talk to an
Just get
adult,
out of your house.
was a bully,
So,
and was
before I
being
could mouth
rewarded
the
with
word,
cash for the behaviors
that
I
was how I
absolutely
did
said.
this, not-for-profit. It's just
If I see this
delusion.
again, this is
The
what I'm
best
going
match.
to do. So they had to get rid of that situation because I think they did trust the fact that I was going to, well, in not so many words, tell them to fuck off. I don't care how old you are. I have told you repeatedly, you do not make fun of people, especially your brother. What the fuck is wrong with you? spikes of it in situational, I do believe they're mostly situational situations, then I'll just manage them. Like I said, you can just literally flick it away. Hooray. All right. Today is the day that I was meant to live, because all I'm gonna say is I want to bring up the issues with stealing time. Since you guys put a sign up there regarding the vote and the importance of 20%, I was told that 20% of the residents could vote to talk about discrimination. I'm told now that you're going to keep that in darkness yet again. But you guys don't play nicely. You guys lie, and I'm making claims that you keep saying, what's your evidence? What's your evidence? You're present for it. So I have a cognitive issue, clearly, and you guys mess around with the recordings and everything. So no surprises. I want that vote. So why don't you guys consider doing that? And I'm going to make a list of the things that I asked for in terms of, because they just keep saying, we'll just keep repeating it. You know, it's not that hard. You've done it before, and it's not that hard to understand when you stopped. But you guys have already given me the words. The words were, oh yeah, they don't answer the questions. If anything, the goal is to make them answer faster or in its entirety. Like, that's an actually really good goal. I agree. They should answer the question in its entirety, or they should answer you faster. If they're going to answer in bits and pieces, that makes sense. So thank you for the words. My evidence is I can talk again because of you. All because of you. And that's hump day, Wednesday, the best day. That's when the principal would remind us, hey, thank you for what you do. Because we don't handpick our students. We teach everyone. Because education is for everyone, not just some. And finally, work smarter, not harder. All right, I give credit to those that have helped me. So I'm going to give credit to my principal for hiring me and for being the original words who defined who I am. It's really hard to hear it again. But actually, I can now explain why this person in year 6 absolutely yelled at me, but also made it very clear. Yes, just if you can't listen to it, that's
what
fine.
It is that
I'm just going to try to get rid of as many things as possible.
They destroy them.
And then get off on it. That's how you do this shit. I get to. Thank you. Okay, thank you. As I listen to it, that's the plan. Thank you. I'm going to start